People, deluded. Leicester 3, Arsenal 0. It's another 3 points drop, 12 in this month in total. And yeah, top 4 is over if you didn't believe it was over. People, we've got to laugh about it, because if we don't laugh, we're going to cry, Arsenal fans, man. I mean, Jesus, man. Like, where do we start? We can talk about the red card, we can talk about the goals, but way before a man was sent off and we was down to 10 men, way before Vardy scored them 2 good goals from a Leicester point of view, poor from us, we didn't have a sniff, people. We were not in this game from the first minute and definitely not at the last with the score lines. We were not at it, and question marks need to be asked. Of course, Unai is the last one I'm going to blame, but at the end of the day, we've what? About 12 points. Like I said, 12 points dropped this month. Four games. My maths might even be off. That's how rattled I am. That's not all down to the players. The majority of it is with the players for me, because they know the opportunity they have at stake with getting in the top 4. They saw in March what could happen, and this is why I tell people not to talk in extremes, because they fumbled it. They had the bag, top 4s in the bag if they saw it through, and they failed. For me, it's all about having an objective. Nobody expects us to be serious in the Champions League if we ever get in it now via Europa League. Nobody expects us to win league titles anytime soon, and we're definitely not going to get relegated. But in terms of a season and having a goal, top 4 was the dream. Top 4 became a reality. We had a goal. We had something to aspire to every training session, game in, game out. So to know that these players can't have a goal in sight and make a proper meal of it, how can you win league titles? How can you be like Liverpool and Manchester City when either one's played first and they need to go out there and win the game? Toothless. It don't matter. Tactics, you can speak about them, but we've seen different tactics, we've seen different stuff, and they've let it go. Is it because of complacency? Is it pressure? I don't know. Set pieces, for example. Arsenal fans, we probably even got complacent at defending them, to be fair with you. Been woeful in the last couple of games. Arsenal have been found out, to be honest with you. And we were toothless, man. Absolutely toothless, man. First 20 minutes, all Leicester, man. You know, I don't even care to do what I normally do in the beginning of the game, in the beginning of my preview. Sorry, in that we speak about going into the game, and that none of that matters. The only things I will say, we did see a 4-4-2. Ozil weren't in the side. Mustafi's back in. Who else was there? Laka and Aubameyang started up front together. Yeah. We know, I told you a lot in my preview, and you saw it come to fruition. And I know a lot of you have seen my tweet where I said Vardy going to score in the 86th minute and it's been going big. Not because I'm a genius. What did I tell you lot? Late minute goals. If you look at the past, you get a picture of the future. I lie, people? I told you lot, Leicester score late goals. Late goals, set pieces. You know what they're going to do. It doesn't matter if it was Palace. It doesn't matter if it was Wolves today or the goal at Everton. Teams know they can kind of get at us this month with that, so we needed to be solid. Leicester, they played better than us. Now, I think throughout the whole game, I think Xhaka and Torreira was poor. Torreira had a better second half. I felt they got overran, bullied in midfield. Both of them, regardless of what you think about them, they're good ball players, or good. Their talents are they got good talents with a ball. Xhaka 5-yard passes, sloppy. Torreira the same, bullied in midfield. I didn't feel Lacazette and Aubameyang initially pressed the back 4 of Leicester well enough at all. They've got good players. They're at home. Our home form is poor. Our away form is poor away from the Emirates. So what does that say? If you give them the ball and allow them to play, they're going to build confidence and the fans are going to get behind them. I felt our strikers didn't press. I felt our midfielders, specifically the central pairing, was poor. Iwobi and Mkhitaryan, they were anonymous to say the least, which is why obviously the red card eventually forced our hand. But you saw Iwobi come off. Mkhitaryan probably did well to last as long as he did, because everybody was anonymous. The only player I was going to say Socrates as well to a degree until the calamity, but I feel Leno is the only player that can leave that field knowing he's played well, people. I thought I was wearing a different t-shirt and rattled, people. Like I said, Leicester are playing confident moves. Chilwell, Pereira, going forward, Maddison, set pieces. We were nervous defending set pieces, and you knew we were going to let ourselves down. And to be fair, you saw a couple half chances from Maddison. Vardy's not being picked up in terms of the runs he's making off shoulders. The warning signs were there. Barnes woke up as well eventually. The warning signs were there. Between Leno saving us, between Leicester not having that added quality to finish these opportunities, or just between sheer luck, we're getting away with it, to be fair with you. It's all Leicester. First 20 minutes in particular. How many passes? We were 22 minutes in, and it came up on Sky Sports that we made 20 passes, people. We had 27% possession, I believe, until the red card, and then 26. I think that's one of our lowest in games. Now, I don't care about stats. I don't care. Possession doesn't mean football. But does that sound like any promising stats? We got men sent off. But from literally when it was 0-0, Leicester were all over us. Leicester is an exhibition game. Telemann's enjoying it. Maddison definitely enjoyed it. And obviously he did make a meal of Maitland-Niles' second yellow. And I do feel, people, honestly, if that was a foreign player, you would hear a lot of it. But because it's an English lad, like we all say, it's a bit of clever play, a bit of gamesmanship. Quick free kicks initially in that game from the 6th minute, from the 6th and literally the one before that. Maddison, 2 efforts when he's putting his hands up and he's touching his head. These are codes. We were shaky defensively. Initially, you even saw, what's his name? Ndidi not even being picked up at all. We did well to get into half-time at 0-0 if we're nice to ourselves, people, because we're toothless from start to finish. 45th minute at this point, we've been toothless. We've lacked bite. We've lacked galvanization. Looks like we're wallowing in self-pity as well, people, that we're feeling sorry for ourselves. Our confidence is a bit of shut. It's been taking a bit of hit and our confidence is kind of shut. And a lot of that might be valid, people. But at the end of the day, the world doesn't care about your feelings, football specifically. You lost, you got to deal with it. You got to get out of it. You don't think City, when they won the league, or Liverpool right now, if they made a documentary, there's bits of them Liverpool players, there's not bouts of confidence where they're not believing in themselves or they're not going through trials and tribulations. They're sucking it up because they know the end game at sight. It's not all roses whether you want to win league titles or top 4. We have fumbled this. How many chances does God want to give Arsenal and want to keep letting it down? Spurs are going to come top 4 in my opinion, and they're going to do it. They're doing their thing, but they dropped points yesterday. Everybody else has been taking their points. I personally feel United, at this moment in time, it hasn't happened, but I feel United might actually beat Chelsea, and I think City might actually drop points to Burnley because we're at the time of the season. But like I said, man, we did very well to get into half-time. Not because we've been playing well, but just because Leicester haven't taken advantage. Extremely well to get into half-time at 0-0. I did possibly feel indeed the red card. It looked like a high challenge. But we did incredibly well to get into half-time at 0-0. Admittedly, people, I'm so rattled. I can't remember when we conceded the red card. I'm so sure it was in the second half. Forgive me if I'm wrong and it was in the first. In fact, I'm bugging out. It was in the first half. He got sent off in the first half. The first foul, probably a bit silly. I didn't think it was a red card. I mean, a yellow, because I felt it was his first one. He does block the man, but it does look like he's going for the ball to a degree, but cool. Second one's definitely not, and Maddison makes a meal of it. But we're done well, like I said, to get into half-time at 0-0. I'm so rattled, people. I can't even find the half-time results and my half-time notes. But like I said, man, half-time, possession is not there. We're flat, we're stale, self-pity, just not galvanised at all, scared, toothless. And Leicester are playing superb. Leicester are knocking the ball. Every player from Leicester is confident. Even Kasper Schmeichel at times is knocking it over the top. Vardy, probably not the most lively of first half, but he's getting on the last shoulder. We're not following midfield runners. Every Leicester player, they're passing it well. They're fighting for the ball. Not really, no mistakes from Leicester. They're superb, man. They know against all the teams in the top 6, Arsenal is one people want to have a go against. And they're playing for their crowd and their manager and things. We're lucky. Because passing, we're not even trying. How many times did we make Kasper Schmeichel make a save? Lacazette had an early chance where Iwobi played him in. But on a general basis, final third, we're poor. We're not doing anything of any note. And when you look at half-time, obviously the red card changed things to a degree, but Leicester are dominating. 342 passes to around 125 for us. Again, I don't care about possession necessarily, and I'm sure you lot are the same. But does that feel you like a side that wants to get top 4, like a side that wants to do anything? We didn't trouble them. If Leno weren't in that goal, it would have probably been 10. And I feel sorry for Leno. I actually, God on my heart, hand on my heart, I feel sorry for Leno. Because I feel Leno's had a good season. He's had terrible moments in this season, like everybody. But today, Leno's the only player I believe can leave that field with any pride car. It could have been worse. Big boy saves. One from, was it Ndidi or Maguire from a corner? Big save. Save you'd expect to make, but nonetheless. Second half, and we're made to pay, people. It's 5 or 6 passes for that first goal. We have not been pressing well at all, to be fair with you. It's a great move down the right hand side initially from Leicester, but it's poor from us. Everybody's doing poor for it. Our shape is continuously poor, but I have to highlight Xhaka. You lot know I don't do this scapegoat thing, people. But how many times this season have I made videos or have I said we don't follow midfield runners? We've been doing it since Liverpool at home. We didn't follow runners. Telemann's just makes a run, you know. Telemann makes a run, and if I remember correctly, I don't think Koscielny's exactly aware, but Telemann's just makes a run. Follow your runners. He gets on the back of it, and he's been in good form. You don't know I want him at my club, and it's ironic how he scored. 1-0, 2-0 now. It's another poor goal. Forgive me if I'm wrong, people, but it's a long ball from Kasper Schmeichel. Socrates and Mustafi, forgive me if I'm wrong and it was Koscielny, but whoever it was in that back four, it's a calamity. Like against Palace, a simple long ball over the top, people. Deal with it. Basic communication and things like that. We don't. Obviously, it doesn't even initially go in. I think it comes off the crossbar and Vardy puts it in and it's a cheap goal and it's just salt in the wounds, essentially, people. The third goal is even more shocking. Again, under similar circumstances, they just played it quickly and we're out of position. Guendouzi's trying to go to the ball, but between everybody, so don't just think of these two individuals. Our positioning is poor. But if you look at Guendouzi and Kola vacates his... Guendouzi, I feel, initially could win the ball and have a bit more of a challenge of that. Kola vacates his position to try and win it. Guendouzi fills that position. And it's down that hand side, they take advantage. And obviously, Vardy gets his third goal. Well, Vardy gets Leicester's third, his second. And they've done their thing, man. Leicester have done their thing. I think Leicester have been superb. They played like a team that deserved to win 5-0, let alone 3, let alone a side that scored all 3 goals in the second half, forgive me if I'm wrong. Brendan Rodgers, tactics spot on, completely overran our midfield, completely. We played into their hands by how poor we was, but he couldn't count for that. Tactically outdone us. The players' application, work rate, just damn right wanted to win 3 points. Leicester, like against Wolves, beat us in that regards, and it's appalling, people. You lot know I never get angry, I never get irate, and yeah, I was running banter about Spurs and United fans when they were going in their thing, so they're within their rights to banter me. Chelsea fans too, but away from banter, away from not getting top 4, away from speaking about top 4, like I said at this last game, who did we even lose to last game? Whoever we lost to last week, yeah? What was it, Palace? Was it Palace? Wolves, that's it. Whoever we lost to, well, earlier in the week. I said just damn right galvanization, going out there with basic application. It was missing. Players are lethargic. You lot know I'm a big fan of Aubameyang and Lacazette. Where were they today? Especially for me, it was more so with the pressing. I'm a big Torreira fan. He was appalling today. Better second half as he tried to make things happen. You lot know I like Xhaka to a degree. Appalling today. Passes, tackling, not following runners, midfield pivot, just appalling. Iwobi, anonymous, shooting, patterned that up, man. Strikers, I mean, Mkhitaryan. I got time for Mkhitaryan. Woeful today. Players are walking. Even when we're nil down, players are walking. Nobody's looking galvanized. And nobody's going to give you anything in the league. I told you lot, how many times have I told you lot, and I've been telling you lot from August, this is the time of the season where you need to focus the most. It's a straight furlong. Nobody cares what it will mean for Arsenal to get back in the top 4, but us. You've got no divine right. And I wouldn't even say it's an arrogance, but it's appalling how these players are going out there and performing in games like that, just in terms of themselves. Away from the club, away from the badge, away from the travelling fans. Big them up as well. Where is the application? Where's the galvanization? You never looked like you wanted any smoke from the minute to the end. If you can't hack pressure, you can't play in the Premier League, let alone a top 6 club. A lot of them, again, need to ask questions. Because Leno, I feel sorry for Leno. He personally didn't deserve to lose 3-0. He didn't do it. Probably Nketiah as well, Carl. When he come on the pitch, what could he do? His game was done. But everybody else, from the young players that were on the field to the old ones, serious question marks, because it stinks of complacency. Probably as well, you lot, I'm the last to blame Nuremberg, but you have to ask questions, man. You have to ask questions. I've got no problem with the tactics to a degree. For me, it's more, what did you say to them to set up in the start? They're in charge of the application, but I have to ask questions because, again, what are you lot doing in training? Because set pieces, we were quite poor at that again. Sorry, people, City are playing. Set pieces for the last couple of weeks now, we've been quite poor in that. So are we a bit complacent in that regards? Have we been working on that? I'm not too sure. How it will be, I'll Mkhitaryan stayed as long as he did. I don't know as well. As well for me, Emery's got to have seen that the pivot thing hasn't been working for us of recent. Back to the Everton game, reintroduce 3 in midfield. Obviously, our hands have been forced with injuries, but it's almost baffling, man. The players let themselves down because, again, it's cheap goals, and at the end of the day, 20 passes within the first 20 minutes away from home. 20 passes. Leicester must have been counting their lucky stars. They would have probably counted their lucky stars anyways, because you always feel against Arsenal you have a goal. But midfield overran, defence at set pieces, defence at 6s and 7s. Set pieces collectively, just following runners and our shape tactically. We weren't there. Overran in midfield. Yes, there was the red card, and the red card obviously changed things because it cripples the way Emery can make substitutions and how we can go out there. But when we had 11 men on the pitch at 0-0 down, what was it? We saw a little 5-minute passage where we knocked the ball forward together, and there was one you're thinking, well, we should have done better when Lacazette and Aubameyang linked up in the first half. But it was appalling, people. It was shocking. It was shocking. We deserve to lose. Like, we deserve to lose the same way Wolves deserve to beat us, the same way Palace deserve to beat us at home. And Everton, we've shot ourselves in the foot. 12 points dropped this month. It's gone. It had it all to do. It was in our hands. All the players were saying it was in our hands. The manager as well, and they fumbled it. Again, it goes beyond the football club and the fans and stuff. You have to look inwards. Can you handle pressure? Because forget Arsenal, you can't handle pressure anywhere. If you can't handle play here, you can't have a top career. Some of these footballers have spoken previously that wore the captain's badge today, armband, about taking the next step. I assume that means eventually one day Barcelona and things. Do you think you're going to get into them teams if you can't handle pressure and you play like this? I want to see media blackout. I don't want to hear we're coming back, we're trying again, where we know what we did wrong. I don't want to hear it, because you don't. You're feeling sorry for yourselves, because I saw that. I saw the self-pity from the beginning, and I thought to myself, yes, we've been bad, but it's about galvanization. The Prem doesn't care about your feelings, but is what it is. Hold our licks. Top 4 is gone. United, in my opinion, is probably gone for them, but if they beat Chelsea today, who knows? But in regards to Arsenal, it's another season of Europa League, man, and between Unai Emery and the boys, they've got to go for it in the cup now. You got Valencia in the week. Valencia, I'm not too sure what they did. I think they played today as well, but I watched their game against Celtic and I watched their game against Atletico. They've got question marks over their defence, but they can cut you open in 4 or 5 passes with their midfielders. They actually, ironically, play a 4-4-2 as well to a degree with Santi Mina. They will punish you. No disrespect to Leicester and Leicester's a good side. No disrespect to Palace, excluding Zaha. But if you can't defend properly, basic 2 banks of 4 defending sort of thing, it makes no sense. There was a period we improved defensively because we was a goal down, but we just a shambles. You're 10 men and we're defending like that. It's ridiculous, people. Top 4 is over, man. But for me, I can take top 4 being over. Because I wasn't saying at the start of the season. I got behind us because I felt we could. I can take the top 4. I can take the bants that comes with this result. What I can't take is the self-pity, people. Is the lack of application away from trying for me as a fan that talks about Arsenal for free all day, every day. Trying for yourselves. Man are walking around. It's 0-0. 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in. You don't know me. I look at the first 5 minutes of a game, you know. First 5 and the last 5 are so important to me. First 5. What did you see from Leicester? The same thing you saw from Wolves. They were at it. The only exception is probably Palace, because Palace, it was more us being poor than them being good, in my opinion. The last 2 games we've played, we've been bullied. And rightly so, because them teams there, you know what, we knew what we were going to get with Vardy. We know what Vardy's on against the top 6, let alone Arsenal. We know what Maddison was going to be on. We knew what they were on today. We knew what we was going to get to a degree with Wolves. In fact, we knew full well with Jota and Neves. We knew. If you 2 dangerous places to go away from home. If you cannot go out there and put in a good performance of yourself, it's appalling. And our last 3 games, there's been rotation and changes and players even being rested for the Wolves game. What difference is there? People need to look in the mirror, because it's not on. It's not on. Yeah, if we get 5th, many people will say we weren't going to get top 4, myself included. So is it a bad season? But for me, it's a weird one, because there's still positives to take from this season, but it's still, for me, this last month would probably make it a gut-wrenching season, because you had it in both hands, and it's gone now. It's gone. A lot of you were commenting on my videos, oh, if we just do this and that. No, people, I took the same application you saw today, you saw last fixture. On that note, I'm not going to keep any of you any longer, people. So, like I said, man, Leicester fans, run your bants. Well done, Leicester, you were superb. But Leicester 3, Arsenal 0. There's no back to the drawing board. I don't know where Arsenal go from here, but it is what it is, man. And yeah, man, it is what it is. People, DG.